join us. Let's get a quick take on the Secretary of the Interior, Ryan Zinke, coming to Colorado to speak at an event in Steamboat Springs this weekend. Protests are scheduled to greet Secretary Zinke during his stay. Patty Calhoun from Westward. So Steamboat Springs is not usually a hotbed of political activity, liberal or conservative, but it looks like it's going to be this weekend. What do you think?
Well, where Zinke goes, controversy follows. I think he's mixed up Interior, being Secretary of the Interior, with being head of inside deals. You know, he makes Pruitt look like he was mild. Pruitt wanted a Chick-fil-A for his wife. Zinke wants a microbrewery in Whitefish, his hometown. So we're going to hear a lot of complaining and probably see some beer drinking.
David Kopel from the Independence Institute and DU Law School, also a big fan of beer drinking, as am I, so I'm right there with you there, David. What do you think of Zinke's upcoming stay and I guess the proposed reaction?
Well, the event is the Steamboat Institute, which is a think tank up there, has a very major national annual event, so he's coming out for that. So even though Steamboat is not usually on C-SPAN, I think it will be now, and that annual event should be. And I just say, as far as I can tell, the protesters are planning on protesting rather than rioting, which puts them ahead of their counterparts in lots of other places of the country, so good for them.
Justine Sandoval, political activist. It's good to have you back on the panel. Justine, you see protests like this, and hey, it's an American tradition, I think, gosh, for over 200 years now. But what kind of effect does that have in an election year? Does it get a little bit more attention? Can it actually boost the other side because there's more attention drawn to it? What do you think?
No, I think right now, in an election year going towards November, drawing that distinction between Colorado values here and what the federal government does is very important. And right now, Zinke, the geologist, doesn't quite fall in line with a lot of our Colorado values here, especially when it comes around protecting the environment. And the recent comments he made about liberal extreme activists being the reason why we have these wildfires is another issue that, you know, brings it more home for a lot of us. And I think that these protests do make an impact during election season.
Ross Kaminsky rounds out the panel, talk show host at 630 KHOW. It's good to have you back. Ross, what do you think of the proposed protests? Is this much ado about nothing, or could we actually make some headlines?
I can't believe Patty thinks he's worse than Pruitt. I didn't think anybody was worse than Pruitt. I hope you're wrong. All I'll say about Zinke is, you know, if I go another month or two or 100 without ever hearing his name again, it'll be fine with me. But the Steamboat Institute event is a wonderful event, and people should check it out, whatever they think of Zinke.